Can you imagine being handed $76 million guaranteed and still finding reasons to complain about your job? Because that's exactly what we're witnessing with Brandon Aiyuk, and frankly, it's getting exhausting to watch. The San Francisco 49ers All-Pro receiver is back at it again, stirring up drama and making cryptic posts that have fans wondering if we've finally reached the breaking point in this toxic relationship. The latest meltdown. Social media strikes again. Let's dive right into the fresh mess that Aiyuk created yesterday, because this wasn't just your typical social media slip-up. This was a full-blown emotional explosion that revealed everything we need to know about where his head is at right now. Brandon decided to use his YouTube channel as his personal therapy session, dropping tweet-like messages that had 49ers fans doing double takes. First, he posted, "This is so personal. I'm the only one who knows they want to play cool now, not F that I want that smoke." Real professional stuff there, Brandon. But that wasn't enough. A couple weeks ago, he randomly declared, "I'm trying to play cornerback." Hold up, you were an all-pro wide receiver in 2023 and a legitimate top 10 receiver in the game. Why exactly are you looking for a position change when you've already mastered one of the most difficult positions in football? Then came the nuclear bomb that really set everyone off. BA saying they was talking about trading me while I was off Percocets and muscle relaxers and peeing in a cup by my bed, couldn't walk. For 10 weeks, ain't nobody trading for me. Now, we don't know exactly what this means. Only Brandon knows. But the implications are staggering. Is this a shot at the organization? At the fan base who wanted him traded? At media personalities who discussed those trade rumors? What we do know is that it's unprofessional, unnecessary, and exactly the kind of behavior that's been poisoning this relationship for years. The pattern of dysfunction that won't end. Here's the thing that makes this so frustrating. This isn't new behavior from Aiyuk. This is a well-established pattern that's been brewing since the moment the 49ers lost Super Bowl 58 to Kansas City in that devastating overtime defeat. Remember what happened literally the day after that crushing loss? One of Aiyuk's close friends posted on Instagram, "This is the exact reason why we're leaving San Francisco. Thank you 49ers for drafting my brother. We are forever grateful. BA to Vegas." Your team just lost the Super Bowl in heartbreaking fashion, and your immediate response is to have your friends trash the organization publicly? That raises the massive question that nobody seems to be asking. Why did your all-pro 1,300-yard receiver have just 3 catches in the biggest game of the year? Was Aiyuk upset about not being more involved in the game plan against Kansas City? Because if that's the root of this whole mess, it explains everything that followed. The social media trail of destruction. Let's take a trip down memory lane and examine the breadcrumbs Aiyuk has been leaving for us to follow. Last offseason, he directly tweeted at Mike Tomlin, the Steelers coach, saying, "Coach Tomlin, they're saying we're twins, what do you think?" This wasn't subtle. The Steelers were the most mentioned trade destination for Aiyuk at the time. Then came the FaceTime conversation with Commanders quarterback Jayden Daniels that Aiyuk posted on social media, where he told Daniels they said they don't want him back. That clip went viral and had everyone believing Aiyuk was definitely leaving San Francisco. He appeared on Ryan Clark's podcast, The Pivot, and declared that Jayden Daniels was the quarterback he'd love to play for if he couldn't play for the 49ers. Around the same time, he was tweeting videos from Commanders practice, basically putting up a billboard saying, "This is where I want to be." Every single one of these incidents was Brandon Aiyuk putting his business in the streets and creating unnecessary drama for an organization trying to win championships. The contract that should have fixed everything. Here's what makes this whole situation so maddening. The 49ers actually gave Aiyuk exactly what he wanted. They handed him a 4-year, $120 million contract with $30 million average annual value, and here's the kicker, $76 million guaranteed. That guaranteed money was more than his teammate Deebo Samuel got. Even after other receivers have signed deals since then, Aiyuk is still tied as the 7th highest paid receiver in the NFL. The organization put their money where their mouth was and proved they valued him as a cornerstone piece. You would think that level of financial commitment would smooth over any hurt feelings from the negotiation process. You would think that $76 million guaranteed would be enough to make someone focus on football instead of social media drama. You would be wrong. The leadership comparison that says, everything want to know the difference between a professional and a prima donna? Look at how other 49ers stars handle their business. Fred Warner didn't need a new contract, but the 49ers gave him one anyway because he embodies everything they want their organization to represent. Would Fred Warner ever post cryptic messages about the team on social media? Would Christian McCaffrey? Would Trent Williams? Would George Kittle? Would Nick Bosa? The answer is absolutely not, and there's a reason those players are team captains while Brandon Aiyuk isn't. When Kyle Shanahan and the coaching staff talk about the renewed energy in the building this season, when players rave about the good vibes being back, everyone is buying in except for one person. Trent Williams showed up to OTAs for the first time in nearly a decade because he's chomping at the bit for the 2025 season. Meanwhile, Aiyuk is on the sidelines creating unnecessary distractions. The professional way to handle business, you want to see how a professional handles wanting out of a situation? Look at Deebo Samuel. Yes, wide receivers are always dramatic. It comes with the position, but when Deebo wanted to be traded, he handled it like a grown man. After last season wrapped up, Deebo approached Kyle Shanahan privately and said, "I would like to get traded. I would like to go somewhere else." He never demanded a trade publicly. He never created social media drama. He continued saying positive things about the organization, even while wanting out. When Deebo did get traded to Washington, he wrote a heartfelt piece in the Players' Tribune about how difficult the decision was and how tight his relationship with Shanahan had been. He was professional, respectful, and classy throughout the entire process. That's how you handle business when you're unhappy. That's not what Brandon Aiyuk is doing. The breaking point for Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan has a reputation as the ultimate player's coach. He'll let players be themselves and express their personalities, but there are non-negotiables. As George Kittle explained to me during the 2023 season, Shanahan wants players who love football, are passionate about football, and stay focused on football. Shanahan will tolerate players being players, but he won't tolerate immaturity taking away from the team's focus. And that's exactly what Aiyuk keeps doing, creating extracurricular drama that has nothing to do with winning games. The culture in that building is special, and it's built on professionalism, accountability, and putting the team first. Aiyuk is actively working against that culture with every social media post and every public complaint. The luxury versus necessity reality. Here's the brutal truth that Aiyuk might not want to hear. Wide receivers are a luxury in Kyle Shanahan's offense, not a necessity. Shanahan has consistently made productive receivers out of players that other teams couldn't develop. The scheme, the play designs, the play calling, it all works to get players open and create opportunities. This is a run-centric system that can function at a high level without a bona fide number one receiver. Now, some people might wonder why the 49ers paid Aiyuk $30 million per year if receivers are just luxuries in their system. The truth is, they probably should have signed him earlier when they could have gotten him for $25 million, but they waited and had to overpay. Now that overpayment is looking like it might blow up in their faces completely. The point of no return, we might be witnessing something similar to what just happened with Rafael Devers and the Boston Red Sox. Devers signed a massive contract, but felt disrespected when Boston brought in Alex Bregman to potentially take his position. The trust was broken, Devers never forgave the organization, and eventually they traded him to San Francisco despite his talent and contract. Is that where we're headed with Aiyuk and the 49ers? Has this relationship become so toxic that both sides would benefit from a fresh start, even if it means not getting full value in return? The 49ers have tried to repair this relationship. They've invested heavily in Aiyuk, both financially and emotionally. They've been patient with his antics and public complaints. But there comes a point where you have to ask, is it worth continuing to deal with this level of immaturity and distraction? The final verdict: Brandon Aiyuk is a talented football player who could help any team in the NFL. But talent without professionalism, without leadership, without the ability to put the team first, eventually becomes more trouble than it's worth. The 49ers have championship aspirations. They have a culture built on accountability and team-first mentality. They have a locker room full of leaders who understand what it takes to win at the highest level. The question isn't whether Aiyuk can play football. We know he can. The question is whether the 49ers are willing to continue dealing with his off-field drama and social media antics while trying to chase another Super Bowl. Based on everything we've seen, it's looking more and more like this marriage has run its course. Sometimes the most talented players aren't the right fit for your culture, and sometimes cutting ties is the best decision for everyone involved. What do you think? Has Brandon Aiyuk played his last game in a 49ers uniform, or can this relationship still be salvaged? Drop your predictions in the comments below, and smash that like button if you think it's time for both sides to move on and start fresh.